Bye-bye. Okay, question. How many people here think that gardening in Central Florida in the summer is either a pain in the ass or difficult? Okay. How many of you are northern transplants, someplace up north? Okay, that's part of the problem. And I've lived up north. I was a kid in Michigan, and I lived for 15 years in Colorado, and I climbed like that. You plant basically everything at once in the spring. Well, of course, there's some staggering, but the plants. Here in Florida, well, I've lived all over Florida, to be Central Florida on south, there's 2 garden seasons. And if you think about it, there's half of the year is relatively cool and pleasant, and in my mind, that's October through March. And then the rest of the year is hot and humid and muggy as hell. And a lot of people say, why the hell did I live here? When I was in Colorado, I ate that because I like humidity. The trick is to learn to, I'm a self-taught botanist, and rather than try to memorize brilliant plant names and vegetables and what's in the year, I think it's better to demonstrate a little bit from this. If you can think in terms of plant families, like say brassica families, which takes in that kale, broccoli, collards, bok choy, and the brassica family loves
maybe somebody just left it and it leaves it for a
Oh,
take
okay.
frost. Many of them actually like kale tastes better after frost. But if you plant a broccoli or a kale now, you're screwed. They hate the heat, they hate the humidity, and one of the reasons for seasonal planting is luckily, even though people bitch about our bugs in Florida, is most of our pests are seasonal. Like Brittany posted on Facebook with her collars back there are getting hit by cabbage looper. Cabbage looper is a butterfly, and she generally only lays her eggs in late spring when summer's approaching, and she specifically targets brassicas. She sniffs out the sulfur compounds, and she lays her eggs on the underside, and all of a sudden puts a few holes on your rock that Monday. My plants are like, oh shit, where's my broccoli? But had you planted those crops earlier in the year, she's not around. Now, my house, way late in the season, I generally finally get hit by a few errant cabbage loopers. But for the most part, if you follow this idea of seasonal planting, you'll avoid most of the bug problems. So it's actually easy to be organic because there's nothing happening that's going to make you want to spray. What I thought I'd do, I thought about this. I'm going to give you some so-called normal food crops because everybody who knows me knows I eat all kinds of weird alternative stuff because I like exploratory eating and gardening. So I'm going to give you some of the weird stuff that I know grows here that I sell. In fact, somebody asked me to bring some of my car to sell. But normal stuff that likes it here. Okra, and this is a short list. Okra, sweet potatoes, cowpeas of any kind, and I'm going to go back to that in a minute because it's something I'm going really mental over. Annual hot peppers, eggplant. Now, there's others, but that's your basic, so-called normal crops. Okra is thirsty. I live in South Tampa, south of Andy, where we have a multi-year perennial rain shadow. My friends up in Sulphur Springs can actually like be complaining because they got their second and third rain, and they have to dig ditches to drain the water away from their house. At my house, I have to wait for the freaking rain. I now only grow okra in what I call water-wise container gardens, something where you can keep the soil very damp. Sweet potatoes are incredibly reliable. Good soil, lousy soil. And one thing that most, I'd say, Anglos don't know is that the leaves are wonderful cooked as a spinach substitute. They're wonderful. Asians, I'm like an Asian. I think of the roots as an autumn bonus because all summer long I've been eating those every other night.
I was just going to ask you, with the sweet potatoes, are you planting them and putting them in big barrels?
I'm doing my sweet potatoes in the ground, even though I'm south of Andy, because they are so tough and undemanding. Once they get going, they really are a spectacular crop. Jim Kovalevsky plants boatloads and then goes up north every spring and comes back to hundreds of pounds, and he's been gone the whole time. The ground cover effect can also be good with choking out weeds. peas. I want to talk about cow peas, and then I need to move to the real topic. It's pretty long. Again, I think it's helpful to think botanically. The botanical name, which I would help you right now, for the cow pea family is two words: Vigna, V-I-G-N-A. And the second word is a mouthful, unguiculata. And that's spelled U-N-G-U-I-C-U-L-A-T-A. The ancestral cow peas came with slave from Africa in the hands of the southern U.S. farmers and hybridized in an incredible. It's like, you know, all dogs are Canis major. You get a chihuahua and whatever. Humans took the base of it with water from that we got black-eyed peas, white field acre peas, powder peas, zip peas. One I was talking to Philip about called Cream 40, right at the store. The Chinese yard-long beans are a subspecies. But the thing is to know that their point of origin is tropical equatorial Africa. Again, in that spirit of seasonal planting, if you plant black-eyed peas in October, they will probably come up. You can see next to no growth, because what they want is heat, humidity, hopefully some rain. I tell my students when I teach classes at my house in Tampa, if you have steak, whether you're a beginner or say you're gardening, summer gardening confidence is really low, any of the cow peas, you'll just be old and arrogant by the end of summer. The simplest thing to do, the cheapest, is to buy a bag of black-eyed peas from the grocery store. You don't, if you buy a packet of black-eyed peas from the seed, you get like a
They're quieter than the dogs in the neighborhood, because I have them unless I tell them.
and maybe just for the hell of it, say if you're really paranoid and you've got low
Code
confidence,
enforcement, they're like,
plant
you don't bother unless
black-eyed
you.
peas,
Find out what it is later.
So they live over there, and recently somebody dropped off the ducks on my doorstep, so I have ducks.
But if you've got improved soil, you could expect bush and growth of this bulk about this wide. And one of the reasons why I promote Vigna and Guiculata for summer
See, ours
is
are white
the
pecan.
whole plant is virtually edible.
Yeah.
When the young leaves are first unfolded, they're wonderful snipped with stir fries and omelets. The flowers are wonderful raw on top of the center.
The one in the silver dish?
Except, of course, each flower is typically in one pod.
Oh, I don't know that one.
And then the pods are edible at all different stages of growth. From young, green, spring, raw,
I don't know what the red is.
to a little bit bigger, cooked, up to shucks the way Grandma did, which I don't have the patience for. Or in the fall, you can pick up the hand pods, fresh ones, and then you get a dried bean to cook like hen beans. I would definitely focus on messing with the bigness. My favorite seed catalog on the planet, without a doubt, is Baker Creek Arizona. And their website is www.fairseed.com. They have put together the best selection of bigness I've ever seen. I'll give you a little navigation clue. It's a well, I don't know what I'm I'm using the catalog. The catalog is magnificent and thick, and what he did, which I think was good on his part, is he took the bulk of them, and it's a long list, and he has it in one category he calls cow pea. Several pages further on, he took the subspecies that all the Chinese yard-long beans were bred from and has in a separate group, which I think is a good move on his part. Let me give you one more thing about that, and then I'll do the real talk. Most of my friends and I were always experimenting, and my friend Mary Jo found at Lowe's a strain of Chinese yard-long bean that makes 22-inch long pods. The name is so wacky, I can't remember. I don't know if it's a result of bad Chinese translation, but it was mostly letters and numbers. It was weird. But anyway, I think it's Ferry Morse. Somebody now has a subset of seeds down at the bottom, and it's called Taste of Asia. Baker Creek Arizona sells an 18-incher called Tai Long Red. Anyway, here's what I wanted to get to. Last summer, me, Mary Jo, Tim, Pat, and his daughter Suzanne, we all grew the Chinese yard-long type. And I watched an Asian neighbor at the end of the block. I don't know. And here we all get the experience. And it's a subspecies. It's a Vigna unguiculata subspecies. Flash in the pan. Dramatic growth, boatloads of these long pods, and then the base, their cowpeas are kind of the reverse. They're more of a slow startup, but they crank and bear all summer long, well into the fall. So even though we were attracted to pods this long instead of that long, we're actually getting a whole lot more actual food from growing the true cowpeas. But it might be fun to experiment with them. But that seems to be the consensus, that they blitz and then stop. Okay, any questions about that part? Oh yeah. Beets? Beets are basically, the leaves of beet. Beet, you're talking beet, red beets. Yeah, yes. But what you might want to do is do on Google, believe it or not, the beet is simply a selected form of Swiss chard. The Romans bred it. They noticed that some chards would occasionally make a slightly enlarged root, and they start selecting out, but they're both the same name, the bed of Bulgar, the same plant. So you can eat beet leaves. I've occasionally had a chard make a little root thicker. Sure. Okay, what I want to do is to run down some off-wall crops that I know thrive here. Actually, I've got one brought from Mary. I'll show you. This is part of Mary's birthday present. This is African jack bean. And that belongs to a group. I'll do that group first. They're not a bean. It's a separate group in the legume family called Canavalia. C-A-N-A-V-A-L-I-A. The sword bean is Canavalia ensiformis. E-N-S-I-F-O-R-M-I-S. Another one I grow that I brought one for Tom is the Chinese sword bean, which is Canavalia gladiata. They're semi-vining but bushy. So like my African jack beans at my house each summer, I train them up rebar in my backyard. So one might be 7 or 8 feet tall, but it'll be 4 to 5 feet across. It's not like a little morning glory. So it's very beefy. Gosh, I need to address this. Okay, cyanide. And I'll make this 5 minutes or less, but it's important. A lot of tropical crops have compounds in them that people mistakenly call cyanide. They're not. It's cyanogenic glucosides. They're compounds of sugar with cyanide, which itself I now see as a human nutrient, which I promise I won't go into. But you'll hear people say, oh, don't eat chaya, it's got cyanide. Or you'll hear people say, oh, don't eat cassava leaves, it's got cyanide. For one thing, the cyanide levels are so low they're meaningless. 3 minutes of cooking the outgas. They're gone. They're a non-issue. So don't let people say, oh, don't eat that chaya. There's this, what I found out in all these years of teaching in my house and listening to people, plus I wrote for the St. Pete Times for 8 years. A lot of us, because of movies, have mixed up in our minds cyanide and arsenic. Arsenic is never a nutrient. It's a toxic, deadly metal. Blankety blank you up. Cyanide is literally a component of the DNA molecule. Literally. Like Mary brought a jar of which comes speckled butter. Limonene. The wild ancestral limonene, God help the ancient human who found out the hard way, the wild ancestor has so much cyanide, it can be fatal. What humans did over the centuries is they selected limonene with lower and lower cyanide, chai with lower and lower cyanide. To help you understand the cyanide concept, and I'll go on, is the best way to experience it is to mix and eat an apple, deliberately crunch an apple. That bitter taste is plant cyanide. And we've all done that, and we're obviously not dead. But when I first moved back from Colorado, I was after sweet cassava, which is the yucca root. And I would go to UT plant show, all the plant shows, and the vendors would thought I was a wacko because I'd ask if I could taste their leaf. And all the ones I tasted, I could taste the apple seed taste. And then I met an old Hispanic person who had what's called sweet cassava, which is very, very low cyanide. Anyway, don't be paranoid about cyanide. The Cannavallias are hard as hell to get. I got my starts from Echo in Fort Myers, who probably now has both of them, Cannavallia and Performance and Gladiata. I would advise you, there's a third one that's native to the beaches here, called beach, some people call beach pea, beach bean. That's Cannavallia rosea. Even on a garbage gut, you can eat almost any damn thing. Me and my friends agree that no matter how we cook the pods, each individual bean is too watery. These guys, if you cook them when they're green and firm, the consensus is they taste like a mixture of a boiled peanut and a really good lemony. Very meaty and satisfying. Okay, that's Cannavallias. Sugarcane, I won't linger on. If you try to grow sugarcane, it's going to want a wet area. The calabaza pumpkins, and there's God knows how many varieties. They're basically a tropical pumpkin. That's all calabaza means. Here's where you need to think like a botanist. I spent a lot of money on seeds trying the four groups of the squash family, which is Cucurbita pepo, which is like a zucchini and Halloween pumpkin. Cucurbita mixta, which I'm looking into. Cucurbita maxima, which grew really well in my summer gardens in Colorado. I had buttercup coming out of my ears. The fourth one, which is what the calabazas are, is called Cucurbita moschata, M-O-S-C-H-A-T-A. This is not botanical nitpicking. As if you want a squash that's going to crank more in summer, get one in that group. And here's a very easy way to tell. All the family members of Cucurbita moschata. If you look at the leaves, there's this beautiful network of silvery, almost Italian markings on the leaves. The other three species don't have that. I would, if you can have room for something that can consume an area 15 feet by 15 feet, I would grow a calabaza. You can even just buy a calabaza from the East Hillsborough Avenue produce market and plant and seed, which a lot of people do. But one reason to grow the calabazas is the male blossoms, which you identify are wonderful as a plate mark. The fine tips, because calabazas tend to go apeshit, and a lot of people say, oh God, it's taking all my whatever. All you do is you cut off the tips where you don't want to go and use the stir fry. There's some wonderful African recipes for squash fine tip recipes. And another good thing about the calabazas, if you pick them extremely immature and young, you can use them as a zucchini substitute. Okay, hyacinth beans. They're not a bean. They're in a family called Dilocos. D-I-L-O-C-H-O-S, Labla, L-A-B. You'll see them in a lot of Asian gardens. They're another so-called cyanide vegetable. Don't worry about it. Rampant, fine. Definitely going to need something big to go up. And you can eat the pods young and green, cooked like edamame soybeans, which is how I do mine. Or you can chuck them into dried. Popolo is an herb that has a nickname of summer cilantro. It's a love it or hate it, and I watch people's faces at my house, and I'd say 2/3 of people's faces go, ooh, why do they eat that? The other third like it. The taste, it's not even in the cilantro family, it's in the aspen family, gets about this tall, and the best taste comparison I've heard so far is a little bit of cilantro with a fair dollop of rue, which a lot of people don't like, and a touch of oregano. But I have used it on burritos as a summer substitute for cilantro, because cilantro is a winter problem. Okay, I'll say velvet beans for near the end. Amaranth, the amaranth family, I'm sure you all heard of it. The thing is, there's amaranths that are grown mainly for the seed head, and they tend to have tough, chewy, weedy leaves. And then there's other amaranths, like wild pigweed, which are wonderful as a green bar cook. If you try to maybe Google leaf amaranths when you're seed shopping, or you'll get the grain type. Purslane is a common weed. Looks like each individual leaf looks like a little beaver's tail. I'm sure you've seen it. It's a wonderful raw nibble. It's got more omega-3 fatty acids than salmon. It is a weed that happens to be, there's probably somewhere in your yard place. My friend Pat just ordered from Europe, which is where purslane. That's how it got here. When the colonials came here, they brought with them the dandelion, purslane, and other similar weeds. But in Europe, they hybridized purslane, to having much larger weed. And my friend Pat just got a 1/4 of an ounce of seeds.
How do you spell purslane?
P-U-R-S-L-A-N-E. Just like a purse. I know you have seen the yellow flower. I'm sure. Well, Andy Furrick will find some.
Yeah. Well, look, it is a wonderful summer green, isn't it? Though it's a wonderful green.
He's the Florida food foraging guy.
Purslane.
Okinawa spinach, whose name escapes me right now, even I'm the mechanical guy, is starting to show up in plant sales. The top of the leaf, top green, bundle and purple. Yeah. It's an acquired taste. Some people find it too spicy. It makes a, if you let it flower, beautiful. And I mean beautiful tangerine orange apples. Semi-binding, shrubby ground cover thingy. And from what I've seen, it definitely likes dappled shade. It really does not like full sun. Okinawa spinach is starting to show up at the more exotic plant sales, like USF. I can picture it being at Home Depot selling it in 5 years. The word is right. Suriname spinach, whose botanical name is Calinum something or other, C-A-L-I-N-U-M. About this tall, beautiful pink flowers. There's the cultivated ornamental form called jewels of oak bark. It's variegated, but they're both edible. Suriname spinach also reseeds big time. Not to the point of being painted, but it does reseed. And the flowers are kind of a pretty magenta pink. Okay, Mikla bover. Don't have time for another vegetable that's catching on for summer here is a vine called Malabar spinach. I failed with it for years, and a friend of mine failed until we found out it's almost a swampland. And once we put it in a container garden, we could keep really wet, then it took off. In good conditions, the leaves can be the size of a coffee saucer. There's a purple stem variety, purple red, and a green stem. I'll warn you now, if you have texture issues, you won't like it. A lot of people say about it what they say about my Philip Mulligan. John, it's slimy. And a lot of people say that. I don't get it. But then I like okra. So. I'll do Molokai now. That was my age okra. It's the most widely eaten vegetable in Egypt. It's been grown in Egypt since Pharaoh Egypt. Stalks are the source of jute fiber. It's got many nicknames. Jute mallow. Anyway, the real name is Molokai, and I want you to write down the botanical name. Let's speak about Corchorus olatorius. C-O-R-C-H-O-R-U-S. And then O-L-I-T-O-R-I-U-S. Corchorus. C-O-R-C-H-O-R-U-S. Olatorius. O-L-I-T-O-R-I-U-S. You're welcome. It needs wet soil. In Egypt, it grows on the banks of the Nile River. And at my house, I feel this until I would either take, say a 3-gallon pot, which will hold 3 molokais, and set it in a tray of water. And then a plant. I get a molokai 5, 6, 7 feet tall. The leaves are about this long. They're mild and tender, raw or cooked. Some people say they're slimy. I don't get it. It has compounds in it. I forget their name, but they're good for the heart. whether your heart's healthy or not. And I have friends with kids, because kids can be very picky about greens. And because of the complete lack of vitamins, it's pretty hard to find Molokai seeds. I still planted it in about a month, but if you go to Baker Creek, might have it this year, but I know for a fact evergreen seeds.
I've gotten it from Echo, John.
Echo has a big, wonderful business. Okay, I'm going to wind down. How much time do I have?
As much as you want.
Okay. K-Tuck. K-Tuck, the only place I know of selling it is Echo. It's a subshrub from, is it Borneo? Yeah, Borneo. I grow mine in a very 7-gallon water-wise container garden.
41.
Which has branch holes drilled beside it because it wants really wet soil. The cool thing about K-Tuck, and I forget the botanical name, I should know by now, Seropus something or other. Just think of Brontosaurus, Seropus something or other. Is the leaf stalks are about that long, but there's individual leaves on them, and even raw, they taste just like raw vegetable. Wonderful peanutty taste, loaded with protein, loaded with all kinds of nutrients. Very frost sensitive. That's way profitable. So if you look in the country, like Plant City or something, if you ever get a K-Tuck, I would keep it to bring it very free. K-A-T-U-K. John and Debbie Buster gave me my plant when they had me on WMNF a couple years ago. 3 winters ago. Yeah. Debbie lost hers in Plant City. She thought, even though it grows 2 feet round in Plant City, but think of it, just think of volume. Chaya, I saw a chaya plant somewhere in Brittany's yard. The nickname is tree spinach. There's 2 forms. One looks very much like cannabis, which of course I don't know anything about what that looks like. And the other one it's called pig chaya, and it's more like, if you know your northern trees, it's more like a northern sycamore because the lobing is not so cut. The regular chaya, like I said, is more like marijuana or maybe false aurelia. Another so-called cyanide vegetable. Forget the cyanide. 7% protein, loaded with trace elements, and now Western science has confirmed the old folklore. Chaya leaves, eaten daily, do stabilize blood sugar. It's not a, space cadet folklore.
Can I ask a question about the chaya?
Huh?
I heard that you do have to cook it first, but you said you don't have to cook it?
There's many different forms. The kind I grow, which is super low cyanide, it's been eaten by the Thai woman who grows it. Turn us here. The thing is, even though like I ate garlic good, I don't like really chewy stuff. Chaya raw is too chewy. So not because it's cyanide turned with, I use the cyanide web with collard greens.
But it's not going to...
Oh, no. The only one that can hurt you is the wild form that has spines in it. The big chaya is very hard to find. My friend Mary Jo cultivates it. I have one. I would get it. Florida, you don't live out in the rural.
They go underneath the coop in the heat of the day. They're not like that. They're not stupid.
I've known people from South America, and they said every mom in South America has a child because nothing else. Kill the chickens, I'm going to save the best for last. Let me see if I'm ready to wrap things up. Next to last, velvet beans. The botanical name is Mucuna puriens. It's from India. Freaking rampant. As soon as my yard in here, any of my students who've been here have seen it. I could go on for 20 minutes about what I want. I'll tell you to Google it. It's the world's richest source of L-dopa, natural L-dopa. For that reason, it's being trained and grown now commercially to treat Parkinson's and Russell's Lake syndrome. I take it, I've been lazy this last week because my dad's been sick and I've been distracted, but normally I take it in 3-week cycles. 3 weeks eating a pod daily, 3 weeks not, because some studies done confirm that at least in middle-aged men, this natural cycling of L-DOPA back and forth, for one is an aphrodisiac, which I don't testify to, and I didn't need that to begin with. It is potent, especially because I was ashwagandha, potent aphrodisiac, but if you do it cyclically, it delays the graying of hair, big time, and helps turn off contrast. I turned 59 in a couple months, and people think I color my hair, and I don't. I think it's because people are building these gray hairs. And the roots put in ridiculous amount of nitrogen into the soil. But you've got to be careful. That structure brings me back to that wooden structure. One velvet bean seed vine would absolutely totally free from consume it. Tom's not using it as a source of shading his farm. Okay, best for last, because this is what I brought to eat. The true yams. This is where, again, it's important to think like a body. The name of the, and I'll explain yams versus sweet potatoes. The true yam family is called Dioscorea. D-I-O-S-C-O-R-E-A. There's many species that Hispanics grow one they call ñame, which is part of what's in my skillet, and that's Dioscorea rotunda. The wild air potato that we hate that consumes every damn thing, that's Dioscorea bulbifera. The African yellow, which I grow, is Dioscorea cayensis. I can't imagine having urban farming at some resort and not having yams. Because like, as I stand here right now, if we went to my house and I gave everybody here a shovel and we dug along my fence line, we would dig up several hundred pounds of yams. It's like a permanent underground food vegetable. I grew a Caribbean white several years ago, for 5 years, and when I dug it up, it weighed 65 pounds. Yeah. Yeah. They never get woody. They're much more nutritious than potato. And you can eat them in my skillet. The taste, texture, is pretty good. Like I need to stop, right? Okay. The true yams, the growth habit is up. You can eat leaves, but generally you eat the tuber after it's been around a year. Sweet potatoes, which are the Ipoponia family, the non-good family, finds out, and you readily eat the leaves. All done? Any questions?
Josh, I believe you're in Steve. I think you are encyclopedia in disguise.
Yeah. Yes.